Welcome to Small Biz, Big Wins, where every episode is a new journey into the heart of entrepreneurship. I'm your host, Sommer Poquette, here to navigate the thrilling world of small business with you. Each week, we dive into the inspiring stories and joyful triumphs of real business owners. Get ready to be empowered with actionable advice and, most importantly, celebrate the spirit of small business. Let's dive into how every small victory shapes your big success. This is Small Biz, Big Wins. Let's make it happen. Hello, fellow small business owners. Welcome back to Small Biz, Big Wins. I'm your host, Sommer Poquette. And while most episodes are interviews with other small business owners, today I am flying solo. Today I want to chat with you about protecting your small business from social media hackers. I'm not a cybersecurity expert. I'm not an IT expert. I am, however, very familiar with social media hacking and how it has hurt small business owners. And I want to speak from my personal experience to help your small business. Today's episode isn't sexy, but it is reality. My company has 35 plus clients, most of which have multiple social media accounts. Some have more than one Facebook account, more than one Instagram account. And so you can only imagine that we are managing hundreds of social media accounts every day. And almost every day, we receive a direct message on some social media account threatening for an account to be permanently deleted. And they give instructions on clicking a link or providing some information. And if they don't, their account's going to be deleted in X number of days. Almost every day, a client will send us a message asking if this is a legitimate threat. And sometimes they tell us that they have clicked the link or they have provided information. When this happens, our heart races and panic sets in. And why am I panicking, you wonder? Well, unfortunately, we've had clients or people that have contacted us needing our help that have lost their accounts. All of their thousands of followers, their posts, their photos, everything gone. Let that sink in for a minute. Think about the thousands of dollars you've spent as a business owner building your social media profiles. Think about all of the content, the pictures, the time. It's sickening, and it is a big gut punch when it happens, and it happens. I've been fortunate enough to recover some accounts, but it's not always possible. With some preventative knowledge and measures, you could prevent this from happening, but there's never a guarantee. I can never guarantee anything. But what I want this episode of Small Biz, Big Wins to do is to give you tangible advice that I hope can prevent this from happening to your social media accounts. So hopefully you're listening and you cannot relate to this happening. You cannot relate to any of the stories I'm about to tell you. But if you can relate, if you've lost your accounts, I am so sorry for everything that you had to go through. And if you're tuning in, really, really listen, because a lot of this advice, there are things you can actually do to save you from having to go through what so many, unfortunately, have had to. So let me begin by explaining exactly what social media hacking is. And really, in a nutshell, it is an unauthorized access to a user's social media account or some manipulation of a user's social media account. Now, I get this question often. It's why would a hacker care about my little, mom and pop store? Why do they want access to my account? And while you might not think your personal account or your business account is worth very much, it's more than just your account. It's your business accounts page and information, it's personal emails attached to that information in your accounts. If your personal account manages business profiles, the hacker can gain access to those business pages, those customers, those ad accounts. The ad accounts have your credit card information. So it's more than just little old you that they want information. It's all the people you're connected with. It's your business accounts you're connected with. It's the ad accounts that you're connected with. Compromising a social media account or company is essentially just really attractive for a hacker because they end up gaining access to all this data that has very valuable information, and it can be used in lots of different ways. So, victims can be blackmailed, they can be tricked into sending money, they can have their accounts held hostage, or they can have their accounts used to scam others. So, while you think, well, why would someone want access to my account? Think about it in a larger scale. They could convince people that they are you. They could convince people that they are you and that you need help. And so people send this hacker money. They could sell fake concert tickets under your name. They can access your business account and take out thousands of dollars in ads for something else. So there are so many different ways that a hacker can use your personal account and then gain access to your business account. The risks of social media hacking are scarier than you think. And they include that identity theft. They include financial loss, so racking up your credit cards. They can spread misinformation and malicious content pretending to be you or your company. PC Magazine shared that social media accounts are even sold on the dark web for anywhere from $6 to $45 an account. So imagine in one day, a hacker gets into 100 accounts and they're $6 a pop. How much money did that hacker make by selling that information, selling your email, selling your personal stuff that you put out on your profiles, getting into your credit cards and racking things up? They're making some buku dollars. Let me share a few stories with you. I recently had someone contact me because their Facebook business page was hacked. They were the only administrator on this Facebook business account. They changed their personal password immediately when it happened. As soon as they were suspicious, they changed it. But they did not have the two-factor authentication turned on. So it was too late. They had years of free music uploaded to this business page. Music that was not on their website, it wasn't on YouTube, it wasn't even saved on their computer. It was just Facebook Live video of them producing music, and it was gone. The page was shut down and it disappeared from Facebook. We couldn't even report it to Facebook. The hacker took over the page, they deleted it, it was gone. Years of work, poof, disappeared. Another business contacted us and their personal account was hacked. They had no other administrators. They did not have a Facebook business manager account. They just had a Facebook business page, which is the basic way to begin as a business on Facebook. They had no security settings in place on her personal account or business account. So two-factor authentication was not turned on. She had no idea what her privacy settings were. She really didn't frequently use Facebook personally, right? So what ended up happening is she lost her Facebook and her Instagram accounts. There was no way to recover either page, and the hackers accessed the page through her personal account. Now, we luckily built everything from the ground up for her, started new pages, and her business is doing wonderful online. And now we have privacy settings in place, right? And it was a hard lesson to learn. So a lot of times businesses, and you might be listening, you start a personal account and you don't really use Facebook. You start it just to create your Facebook business page. So you don't log in often, you don't check it often, and you don't know your privacy settings. You are a prime candidate to be hacked. So it is imperative that you check your Facebook accounts often to see what's going on. And that's when you will notice if there's any suspicious activity. You don't just set it and forget it. Sadly, hacking doesn't just end with social media accounts. It can be your Google business account, your Google email, your website. And while Facebook and Instagram and other social media sites are on the top lists for hacked accounts. I think Facebook is number one. Google is still in the top 10. Our agency sees requests to take over Google business ownership. So if a business owner misses a notification and that somebody wants to claim their business account, right? So a hacker wants to take over a Google business account. They tell Google they want to request ownership or management. This request then falls into the real owner, real manager's email account, and maybe they miss that email. So they miss it the first time, but the hacker doesn't stop there. The hacker tries to claim ownership again, and then again, and then again. If those emails go unanswered by the owner and the manager as the hacker's requesting the ownership, if it goes unanswered, Google will release the ownership to that hacker. They don't know that person's a hacker, but the owner or the manager, the real owner and manager, isn't responding to Google's email request saying, hey, social 156 is claiming to own this, and you don't decline that after multiple times, the account is then released. The last thing that anybody ever wants to have happen is to lose control of their Google business page, right? This page allows you to share with Google what you do, where you're located, and your hours. I even had someone recently maliciously report my Google business profile for Keep It Real Social for violating terms. And it was shut down for weeks until I could prove with paperwork and evidence that I owned the business. This cost me hours of time and loss of sleep. If you think it can happen to you, it can. I know an agency with thousands and thousands of Instagram followers, and they lost it all. Their account was hacked. And now they're rebuilding it, but again, it happened to them. There's a photography business that I know of that had their account hacked, and they still have access to this photography business, but they share access with the hacker. Yes, they cannot get Facebook to remove the hacker because the hacker has literally shown a legitimate email, and it's just crazy. These stories happen. The NBA had their account taken over by a disgruntled employee. Donald Trump had his Twitter account hacked in 2023. It can happen. I read somewhere that there's over 300,000 Facebook accounts hacked daily. Data Economy reported in 2022 that there were over 1 million Facebook accounts breached. That was 2 years ago. Can you imagine the number of accounts breached in 2023 and 4? Notch reported that there's an Instagram account hacked into every 10 minutes. Wondering what Notch is? I'll include the link to this program called Notch in the show notes, but essentially it is an insurance program that provides coverage for your Instagram account if you get hacked. And then you're paid daily until your account is recovered or up until 90 days, whichever one comes first. I believe Keep Real Social pays $10 a month, but for peace of mind, to have someone monitor my account for suspicious activity, and then should it get hacked, they work to recover the account. It's worth every single penny. Every single day your account is hacked and not available to you, you're losing money. You're losing your reach. You're losing your chance to sell. You're losing hours of work because you're busy recovering the account. So make sure that you visit the show notes to learn a little bit more about the Notch program. So it sounds all doom and gloom, right? What can you do to prevent this from happening? What are some signs that you've been hacked? What do you do if you're hacked? I'm going to break it down for you, okay? Here are some red flags if you have been hacked. You are noticing some unexpected posts that you didn't put on there on your personal account or your business account. You have strange message requests or friend requests that you never initiated. Those are all red flags. Your account information has been changed. So your email's been changed, or your address has been changed, or your hours have been changed. Um, Personal details are altered. This is again why you don't just set it and forget it. You need to log in to your accounts on a regular basis and check that information, because some hackers come in and they're fast, they take over quick, and others are kind of subtle. It's just a matter of changing your URL. And so now traffic is being directed to a porn site or to their shopping site. They change the email address. So then it's harder for you to recover your account. Hackers do this to make things difficult for you to regain your control of your account, right? So some are subtle, some are more and you can't get back in and recover your account. There are all sorts of different methods used. But when you start to see unexpected posts, you start to see your email address looks different, or your hours have changed, or your URL is different, it's a red flag that your account has been compromised. If you're locked out of your account, obviously this is a huge red flag. A hacker has taken control and then changed your password, and you cannot get back in. If a friend alerts you that they're receiving weird messages and it says, Summer, you're messaging me this, that is an account that that is a red flag that your account has been hacked. So regaining control. So if you have these red flags, right, and you want to regain control, what do? It really is all a matter of timing and immediate action. That's why if you just set it and forget it and you're not logging in and you're not staying on top of your accounts, or your agency that you hired or your marketing manager isn't, that is a problem. You need to stay vigilant. But what you need to do when you notice any red flags is you should immediately change your password and ensure two-factor authentication is turned on. Sadly, over 45% of people do not even know their privacy settings. They don't have them turned on. They don't even know where to find them. They do not use strong passwords. They use the same password for everything. They reuse their passwords. That's a problem. Okay. So the first thing is to regain, you have to immediately take action, change your password right away, turn on your two-factor, and then you need to report the incident to Facebook, their help section, or Instagram, or Google, or whatever site that you have had any issues being compromised. You need to report that. And if Facebook was compromised, you need to immediately check Instagram. If Instagram is compromised, you need to immediately check Facebook. Check all of your accounts, because hackers often target multiple accounts. If they were able to get into one account, they're pretty confident they can get into multiple accounts. And so make sure that you do your due diligence and check all of your accounts if you have anything compromised whatsoever. Now, while it's impossible to guarantee absolute security, right, there are preventative measures that can reduce your risk. And here's what I recommend: utilize super strong passwords that are super complex. They're not guessable. So don't use your street name. Don't use your birth date. Don't use your daughter's first name and your street address. Those are all guessable things, right? Don't reuse passwords. I have been guilty of this. Nowadays, we all have 1,000 passwords, and it is impossible to keep them all straight in our head. I understand that. There are lots of password keepers and lots of, software things you can use to, help you remember your passwords, but don't reuse passwords. Reject any friend request from people you do not know. Enable two-factor authentication for everything. Have it on your website, have it for social media, have it for email, for everything. Basically, this is an additional security measure. It just adds an extra layer of protection to all of your accounts. Two-factor essentially is an electronic authentication method in which a user is granted access to a website or application only after they have successfully presented two or more pieces of evidence that they are the real person. So add that extra layer. That makes it really hard for a hacker to gain access to your accounts. Be super wary of phishing attempts. Don't click on any suspicious links in your email or in your direct message box. Don't provide personal information on unverified websites or emails. The hackers are getting better and better, and they're using ChatGPT to help them do this. So exercise extreme caution when clicking on links, when giving out information. Update your software. Keep your operating system updated. Have your antivirus software on. Have your web browsers updated. These are all important steps to take. For Facebook, be sure that you have more than one administrator on your Facebook business page and that everybody has two-factor turned on. It is required at our office. I recommend that all business owners set up a business manager account, which is not a business page. You can require two-factor authentication if you have a business manager account. This is kind of confusing. It's a lot to explain from a podcast perspective. So I'm going to provide a link in the show notes for more details on the difference between a Facebook business page and a Facebook manager account. But if you have a Facebook business manager account, you can actually require that anyone that has access to your business page has to have two-factor authentication turned on. Now, remember, I was previously giving you some stories of, people that had come to me or a client that had issues with their accounts before we had, taken over and fixed things. And each time there was no other administrator on that Facebook page. So having another administrator on your Facebook business account is really important because if your personal account gets hacked and they go in and they start manipulating your business page, there is no one else that can boot them. There's no one else that can report it. There's no one else that can delete them. So always have more than one administrator on your business page. Check to see often where your account is being logged in from. So if you see that someone is logged in from the Philippines and you're not on vacation there, red flag. It's time to change all your passwords. When you get an email from a sender and it looks suspicious, it sounds suspicious, it doesn't make sense, make sure that you look at the sender information for the email. Expand that information on what the actual email is. So it'll say from Facebook, but if you open it up and it says salesforce321.facebook@gmail, this is phishing. Don't just believe that an email is legitimate because it ends up in your inbox. Anyone, sadly, can create a fake email and name themselves Kristen and sound legitimate. They can send it to a friend or a client. They can use ChatGPT to have a certain tone of voice to sound like a female or a male. They can do this because they're a hacker or they're malicious, because people nowadays can mask their IP address. But the positive thing about this is that law enforcement can uncover the masked IP address. That person can be found if they are impersonating someone, if they are being slanderous, or if they are being a hacker. So the lesson is don't just trust an email that you receive. Look at that sender information. Google the email address and use sites like Been Verified to look up the sender information and uncover if that email is really real. If an email is real and you actually go to Google it, you're going to find it's attached to numerous social media accounts. You will be able to tell if the email is real. If it's fake or scam, you won't find information on it. And when necessary, involve law enforcement and report crimes. I urge you to consider cyber liability insurance to protect yourself personally and professionally. And when somebody leaves your company, because it happens, they go on to find another job or they move, whatever the situation is, make sure that you update your passwords when you have an employee change and that you remove them from all accounts, even if you left on good terms and you really trusted them. I had a client recently who had an employee that was let go. And it was still, the person was still on their Facebook account like 5 years later. So remember that the NBA had a disgruntled employee that took over their accounts and was posting stuff because they were unhappy. It can happen. The NBA had it happen. So just make sure you remove everybody that is no longer affiliated with your company and you change your passwords. And for your business, have a private Wi Fi network just for your company and your employees, and then a guest network. So you have two separate networks with two separate passwords. And do not let anyone but employees onto your private network. Listen to episode 9 with Ashley DeCartwright, where we discuss cybersecurity and what happened to Target when their HVAC person connected to their private network. That's a great episode to listen to if you want a little bit more information. The bottom line is don't risk it. Keep your network separate. Social media hacking, data breaches, phishing attempts, and malicious people hiding behind the screen to create fake accounts are all too common nowadays. Users need to be vigilant and take steps to protect their data. Social media companies are getting better at investing in security measures. You always see that Facebook they're making the attempt, they're requiring certain things, verifying accounts, but still users must be aware of the potential risks. You have to be mindful of your privacy settings and take necessary steps to protect your accounts. Even though this topic is a complete downer, I want to leave you with a big win because not all accounts are lost forever. I had a client hire someone internally, and we don't often at Keep It Real Social lose a lot of our clients, but sometimes we will lose a client because they internally hire somebody. It's really a good fit. And we'll work with that person and train that person and work on the transition. And so the client hired someone internally. And the first thing that person did when they took over all the accounts was they deleted me as an administrator. But they had nobody else on the Facebook business account. And then guess what? Their personal account was hacked. And then the business account was hacked. And the business ad account was hacked that was attached. And it racked up thousands of dollars in ads. And while this new person removed me as an administrator of the actual Facebook business page, I was the administrator of the Facebook business manager profile, which allowed me to then take control of the page, remove the hacker, report everything. We never got the ad account back, but we were able to create a new ad account. We were able to report this to Facebook. We reclaimed the account and voila. But again, make sure that you always have another administrator, that you look at your privacy settings, that you have two-factor turned on, and that you use, if possible, a Facebook business manager account, right? So you're not just having a Facebook business page, right? You take the next level of security to have a Facebook business manager profile. Oh, it was a lot, everybody. I hope you stayed with me, but I know that this is an important topic. I know everything I'm telling you is important because I see it every single day in my business. Hopefully, today's episode of Small Biz Big Wins won't give you nightmares. Instead, I hope you'll change your passwords, you're going to turn your two-factor authentication on, and you're going to be wiser and more cautious. I hope you'll share this episode with others so that more small business owners don't become victims because sadly, many cyber attacks and social media hacking target small business owners. So please, please share this episode with fellow business owners. If you can, visit the show notes for resources and helpful links like Notch Insurance. I'm also providing some free marketing downloads to help your business for free. So enjoy. And if your target market is small business owners, let's chat about how you can sponsor Small Biz Big Wins, or just email summer@keepitrealsocial.com, summer with an O, or visit the show notes. And again, thank you for tuning in. And don't forget, turn on your 2-factor authentication.